Canada made one of the biggest immigration announcements in the past few years. Almost everyone is impacted. International students, PGWP holders, spousal open work permit holders, it's hitting everyone. In this video, we are going to go through all those change announcements one by one. Before we get started, my name is Madhur Parashar. I'm a licensed Canadian immigration consultant. My contact information is in the description and on this video. If you need any help with immigration applications, feel free to reach out to me. Now let's get into the details of the announcement. So we are going to divide these details into three sections. One is study permit holders, the other is PGWPs, and then we'll talk about the spousal open work permits. Okay, so let's get started with the study permits and the students. Okay, so the first one is that the number of study permits that will be issued in 2025 will be 10% lower than the study permits issued this year. Okay, so this year the target was 485,000 study permits. The next year, 10% reduction will be 437,000 study permits. So getting a study permit will obviously become harder to come to Canada as a student. Now, this is not a big surprise. Canada was cutting down on international student numbers. They were refusing a lot of study permit visas. So reduction of 10%, this was expected. This was normal. So not much shock there. And to be honest, the number of visas, the number of people that are actually coming to Canada to study is far below the numbers like 485,000, 437,000. It's already far below that. So saying that we will cut it by 10% doesn't really mean much. So this announcement doesn't mean much. You can kind of ignore this. But just remember that getting a study permit to come to Canada is going to become harder. That's the summary of that change. Okay. Second big announcement. This one is bigger though. It's that masters and PhD courses are also included inside the study permit cap. Okay. If you think about what was happening before, masters and PhDs were not included in the study permit cap. Only degree, only diplomas, certificates, these kind of courses were included in the cap. Masters and PhD were exempted. People who were in the cap needed to get a PAL, or provincial attestation letter, which means there was a limited number of people that will be allowed in those courses, and each college will have certain quotas, and they will give out their provincial attestation letters to people who who are under the cap. Now, because masters and PhD are also under the cap, so now these guys will also need a PAL letter. So when you apply for a master's course, you'll ask for a PAL letter from the college. So those are the two major changes under study permit and student visa caps. Okay. Now let's move on to the big changes. That is the PGWP changes. These are huge changes. So let's get into that. So first of all, they've said if you study something that is related to a job occupation that is in high demand or that is in shortage, then you will most likely get a 3-year PGWP. So for example, if you take courses, say diploma in healthcare, degree in health sciences, construction technology, if you study courses that are related to these high demand, high shortage industries, then the PGWP after doing that course will be most likely a 3-year PGWP. Now, what these courses are, they have not identified or they have not announced it yet. But most likely there will be courses in the usual healthcare, technology, and such things, right? But the list will come out later. The second big thing is that if you study at a degree level, meaning bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD degree, then you will likely get a 3-year PGWP. Okay, so diploma certificates, no. Degree, degree and a master's degree and PhD, yes. Right. So the first change is that if you study something that is high demand, high shortage, 3-year PGWP. If you study at a degree level that is bachelor's or master's, then 3 years, or PhD, then 3 years PGWP. But if you are not in either of these two categories, like for example, you are studying a diploma in business, international business management, a certificate course in accounting, or a diploma in supply chain management, So you're not in both of these categories. You're not in some high demand, high shortage area course, and you're not at a bachelor's level or master's level or PhD level, right? So in this case, your PGWP situation is not looking good. They have not said what the situation will be, but it will not be good. Meaning you might get a very short PGWP, like 1 year or something, or in the worst case, they might decide that you will not get a PGWP at all, right? Now that is extremely unlikely to happen. They will still give you a PhD, most PGWP most likely, but the duration will be much shorter. So 3 years, guys, for the high demand, high shortage, 3 years at bachelor's level, and if you're outside these two categories, it's not a good news for you. You might get 1 year or maybe even less or maybe no PGWP. So the exact details of PGWP have not been announced, they have not been provided. Okay. So the next big PGWP change is to apply for a PGWP. Along with your work PGWP application, you have to submit a language test score. This is crazy, right? If you graduated from a college, meaning diploma or certificate, then submitting your PGWP application, you need a language test score at a CLB level 5. If you're graduating from a university, meaning like a degree level course, then you must submit a language level score of CLB 7. And this has to go along with your PGWP application. So those are the three big changes for PGWP. All right, now let's talk about the spousal open work permits. So previously, if you came here as an international student, your spouse used to get an open work permit. Your husband or wife got SOWP. Then they restricted it few months back. They restricted it and said only master's level students will get spousal open work permits. Right? The spouses of master students will get it. Right? Now they are narrowing it down even further. They're saying that only spouses of master students who are pursuing a two-year master's degree will get a spousal open work permit. Okay, so see how they're narrowing it. First, everyone used to get it, then only master's people used to get it. Now, master's people who are pursuing 2-year master's degrees, their spouses will get an open work permit. So, by the way, this 2-year master's degree, it's actually a 16-month course. That's what they're calling it. But 16-month courses are called as 2-year degrees, right? So they're saying it as 16 months, but it actually means 2-year master's degree. So only the spouses of students who are pursuing a 2 years master degree will get a spousal open work permits. Others will not get it. Okay. So that is a huge change, very, very big change, right? Now let's talk about spouses of workers. Okay. So the biggest change here is that if you're the spouse of a foreign worker, then you'll get an open work permit only if your spouse is working in a management position, professional position, or an in demand occupation. Okay. Let's understand this clearly. If the spouse, let's call husband, if the husband works in management job, professional job, or in demand job, then the wife can get a spousal open work permit. Now what do these three things mean? Management job and professional job. Basically, this is tier 0 and tier 1. That's what it means. If you see the definition of tier levels, then tier 0 and tier 1 means management job and professional job. And then uh, and the third category is people who are in demand professions. So if you can demonstrate that you're working in a high demand, high shortage position like construction, healthcare, maybe technology, then your spouse might get a work permit, a spousal open work permit. So previously, the spouses of all workers used to get SOWP. Now only spouses of workers who are working in certain tier level occupation, certain tier levels, and certain high demand occupations will get it. So even here they have narrowed it down. It used to be all workers. Now it's only workers who are in NOC 0, tier 0, tier 1, and high demand jobs. Okay, so spousal open work permits have been narrowed down a lot. So, guys, that is the summary of everything that has been proposed. Now, a lot of these changes have not been finalized, which means that they have said we will announce the details later. For example, when we say this spousal open work permits for tier 0, tier 1, they have not specified it. This is my interpretation. This is the interpretation of industry experts. We don't have details of all these. These details will come later. But these are the high level or the headline announcements that have been made. On this channel, we will continue to bring you continuous updates as soon as these details are released. So subscribe to this channel. My name is Madhur Parashar. I'm a licensed Canadian immigration consultant. My contact information is here and in this video. If you need any paid support, any immigration consultations or immigration applications, feel free to reach out to me. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel because we'll be bringing you the latest Canadian immigration updates.